Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. And I have a very special guest joining me. And it's our part 2 conversation, right? So, Agnes Kappler from France, from Cartagram, is joining me for another live conversation, which, of course, is recorded. So, for those of you who will be watching later. And I'm so excited to have you again, Agnes, and to talk to you. Last time you were so generous with your time, and you shared so much about the process of handcrafting, of creating your cards by hand, and how, like, the process of gluing and soaping. And actually do have a question about soap from one of my friends on Instagram. But today we will be more talking about your kind of your personal and your creative process, about your personal decks. And I'm just so thrilled, so honored, and so grateful to have you back.
I'm thanking you, Masha, for hosting me tonight and having another conversation together. It's so interesting to me to be able to express about this. And tonight, indeed, I thought I wanted to share a little bit what's very personal from me and that I have the chance to put into the tarot, especially on the backs. And it goes with some maybe more philosophical insights. And maybe, we're going to talk about this show, and I'm very happy about this. I say hello to everybody who's here or who will join soon or who will
Mm.
watch later. And I
Yeah.
thank everybody who's watching, and I thank you very much, Masha.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I love, I mean, I loved our first conversation, and I'm just really, really grateful for your time and really excited to have you here. I'll just quickly open the chat here so I don't miss any, like, if people ask any questions. But yeah,
Okay,
they
the
will
floor.
be joining later. I know a few people will be joining later. They're running a bit late for our timing, but we had Tero Hila and we have Nikki here as well from the UK, who said hello to
Nikki,
us. Yeah, I saw Nikki has some of your decks as well, some beautiful decks from you.
she collected beautiful decks from what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful. She's supporting Cartogram very much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. All right. So when yeah, she's saying hello to you. Yeah. So when we talk about your creative process, how do you apply your creativity when it comes to your cards, for when it comes to creating the cards, Agnes?
Yes, so first I made the choice. I think at the beginning with tarot, we all want to recreate the cards, the arcanas, to draw them again. And quite soon I realized it's so much history in them. It's pointless for me to redraw them so fast before I learn them very much deeply.
Mm.
But concerning the backs, because I have also a background in painting and decorative painting, I felt it was very interesting to use my research into how can I say that? It's about being kind of applying the paint the more naturally as possible. It's not about drawing a landscape or it's not about giving a shape. It's actually about recreating the intangible, recreating the pattern of nature,
Mm.
like the oscillation of the waves, um, like for example, the chaotic waves, the clouds or the mountains displays in the nature, like a way, for example, to show the winds in the leaves, something that's very natural and doesn't have like this very precise shape that we want to draw. And it's something that we're always looking for. It's in decorative painting, we want to represent the wood or we want to represent the different materials that exist in nature, and we want it to be as smooth or natural as possible. So it's a little bit really this research of being as natural as possible.
Mm.
um, I'm really searching this connection with nature, I think. And nature has always been very inspiring to me. You know
Yeah,
that.
wonderful. Yeah, no, it's wonderful to know, that those of us who get customized bags from you, that the inspiration does come from the nature. It's wonderful to know. And yeah, so any, well, it's a kind of a hard question, but when it comes to the nature, are there any particular like seasons or landscapes that that inspire you most?
Well, yes, indeed. I mean,
Particular places, maybe, even places in the world.
um, I've been so lucky in my childhood to be able to go to the mountains in the winter and to the sea in the summer. And both these places are very full of emotions somehow.
Mm,
And my mother was living by the seaside, and every winter I go with my father in the mountains. So it was a little bit like these two opposites, but so strong emotions. And I love them both. And I think I have this natural with water with the blue colors, which I think is for sure my favorite. If
mm,
I mean, a painter cannot have a favorite color, but the blue is super inspiring,
mm,
and it's everywhere in the sea, in the sky, in the space. And but lately, this winter, I went really into the mountain and the snowy landscapes, and I was super inspired this winter with this.
mm,
I watched ski movies, I watched this landscape, and somehow we see this all the time. But this winter was very special. I took much more attention. It took my attention into the light and the
mm,
color you can see in the snow. And I was very inspired with this.
mm. Why do
So,
you think like this particular winter was so special for you, this particular experience this year? Do you think it's about like your process that like this year you were ready to notice those things?
certainly, I think the years before I was maybe. Uh, um, it's difficult to explain very much this, but I think last winter I worked on the blue and on the seaside, and for some reason it was more about the sea.
Mm,
Also, many things happens during the summer, and I was more. I think it's the year really I wanted to go, move, hike, um, see around, move
mm,
from Paris and everything. So there was there was something. Also, it was the Olympic Games in China, and
yeah,
it was a lot of pictures on the TV. It was a lot of energy around the snow sports. So I think
mm,
it brought everything up. And also, I mean, we didn't have pandemic this winter,
yeah,
and we were finally able to go out. So
mm,
all this, I think, helped to focus more on the mountain side.
yeah,
I didn't go in the mountain the last 5 years, maybe, and
mm,
it was like a reconnection. Something very strong happened this winter. It was
yeah,
pretty inspiring. So I went for on the painter side. I had to find new techniques. I had to find new materials, and I found this iridescent pigments. There, it doesn't show well on screen and on photography,
mm,
but when you see them move in the light, it goes from all colors, and it's a bit like a rainbow or unicorn
mm,
kind of colors, and it brings this magic, and it's a play with the light, and I found it was very in connection with natural elements, and especially the snow, which is a
mm,
crystallization of water, the most purified form of water we can have. It's a rebirth kind of process, and the light is just playing with this, and we can see the snow in the morning. It looks blue. In the
mm,
evening, it looks red or orange.
yeah,
It's unbelievable how it shows like this.
mm,
And it was the first year I noticed this somehow.
yeah. But it's like I just love it how how you mentioned like Winter Olympics and you been like more noticing the snow in France. It's kind of how it's a combination of nature and that sort of, you're right, like universal energy that you've been really drawn to draw your inspiration from.
Yes, maybe. I mean,
Mm,
sometimes here in Paris, we can feel a little bit city oriented and culture oriented and very inspired by the exhibition in Paris or fashion and things like that.
mm,
And for
mm,
sure, it's inspiring too. But
yeah.
I think it was a global interest for nature. Many
Mm,
people have moved from the city to go live in the more
mm.
countryside places, and it's the after effect of pandemic, probably.
Yeah, I think so because people had enough time probably to reflect what really is important and what they need in their life.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, I went back. I work as a painter in a company close to my
Mm,
home, and I meet over there a lot of people. And it's very funny because I work alone here with cartogram, but when I go outside, I'm back in the life, you know.
mm,
I
mm,
hear news from everybody, and it was like so many people drop their jobs to do something else and
mm,
move away and start having the bees house and making honey and things like that, and back to the earth. It
mm.
was like a wave of things like that happening in my neighborhood somehow, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
noticed that.
I know a few people also who changed their life drastically, even like kind of resigned from the work they didn't enjoy. Yeah. Just quickly say hello to Justin because he's not worried that the comments are not coming through because he's from work, so he's popping in and out. Yeah, hi Justin. Yeah, the comments are coming through. I see all of them, so it's all good. Yeah, so with your customized bags, you draw your inspiration from the nature as you just explained, and but what like how do you go about it? How even if you can just take us how you started. Like the first deck that you did with customized bags. How did you go about it? Where inspiration came from, and yeah,
Um,
maybe even like you probably remember which deck it was as well.
I remember very well, and I think I have still some cards from this. It was actually from the Mamluk, and
Hmm.
you see it here. You know, the Mamluk doesn't come with a back. So this is it's a very huge card, you know.
Yeah, I'll bring in it for people to see a
It's big.
little bit better. Yeah.
I think it's 20, like, yeah, it's
Mm,
like 25 or 23 centimeters.
so
And on
pretty.
the back, it's usually white because there
Mm,
was no design for the back when we set this up. And soon enough, people wanted to have a color on the back, and I was more than happy to do it. And because I am so fascinated with indigo color, indigo pigment,
mm,
from I don't know, from probably also from my work with Pablo Robledo. At first, I think maybe the deck you got, they came in a velvet bag that was tinted,
mm.
dyed actually. We said dyed with a indigo pigment.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you see the process, the indigo, you dip the cloth in the water with the indigo inside, and it comes out. It's kind of light green, and with
Mm,
the oxygen, it becomes dark blue, and the process is just magical. And the color of indigo is beautiful. And it
it
was
is beautiful.
also, it's a pigment in the dodal that is so it gives a gradation that is very fine, and I really love this color. So
Mm,
this is the first bags that I did, and you see it's really simple. It's kind of the color is applied and then just brushed, but very smoothly. So there is no shapes, there is no brush strokes or anything. It's just like
mm,
very simple, and it was like that.
yeah.
So I
It's
had a couple of
beautiful.
these,
Still,
and
yeah.
it's purely indigo, and it started like that. And actually, there is a funny dynamics going on. It's I'm working here with cartogram, and I'm working outside with a set painting, and I
Mm,
learn outside many techniques. And then I come back to cartograms and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can do this differently now. Maybe I know this.
Mm.
Especially we work with very big surfaces, so we can really manage and learn the techniques. And
Wow.
something happened. I'm going to show you which one actually. It's this one. Uh, it's the blue, Oriental blue.
Mm.
And here we see the steps to get to the Oriental blue.
Wow.
I need to show.
Mm. Yeah, we can see now. Yeah.
A little bit hard to see on the video, especially my camera is not
Mm.
so.
But like your Instagram is linked because you show like little clips, little videos on Instagram sometimes when you create things. So yeah, it's all linked for those of you watching in the description of our live chat. Yeah.
There is a much more visible definition.
Mm.
And this kind of techniques I learned on outside of cartogram on a Disney project. We
Mm, wow.
actually painted with a team. We were like 5, 6 painters, and it's these vehicles in a Disneyland, and they go with the dancers and the music. And it was actually the vehicle for the Santa Claus. So it was the
Mm,
big one. And I didn't realize that because I'm not so much going to Disneyland. But
mm,
it's really great actually. Every little detail is painted by hand. It's like
wow.
it's not coming from the factory and shiny, simple color. It's all like made by hands. And I couldn't believe the level of details that was expected from us. And I learned a lot because of this. And
Mm,
it was so cool because I came back to Cartogram and I had this order. It was from Morema. And she said, do whatever you want. I trust you.
oh,
Have fun. And
yeah.
this blue came out like this somehow. I was trying some colors, I was trying some superposition,
Mm,
and basically in decorative painting we go with very transparent colors and we add them up, so it gives this vibration, I would say.
mm,
So we start from the white paper. There is this background color. There is a first effect with a blue, darker blue. Here I add some yellow, and we see them show here, for example. It's
mm,
less subtle, but it gives some vibration, some variation.
wow.
Here it's a darker blue, and this one here with the light, maybe we see there is more some projection of
Mm,
gilded paint, and at the end it gives something a little bit precious, I would say.
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's also a lot of time, but it's really, I mean, I can do on tarot cards what I'm not allowed to do in the business of painting, because it would
Mm,
take too much time for the big surfaces that we do. And
yeah.
it came like this little by little, and a lot about meeting people actually.
Mm, yeah, but it's magical. And you know how I think I did mention before, like in our first conversation, that it's so amazing to watch your process on Instagram and to watch the videos and how each deck, as you continue working and handcrafting, it just becomes more and more refined. And it's just so wonderful to see and so wonderful to to witness, I guess, your journey and your work and how, yeah, and your creativity, how it's kind of shining.
I
And
feel super moved. Thank you so much
oh
because
no, it's just like you're wonderful, and it's so wonderful to have you in this world, doing this work and creating. And Nikki is saying that your Instagram posts show your bespoke bags very well. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very nice from Nikki, and thank you very much. It's it's possible to add some creativity. I like to add as much creativity as I can in the
Mm,
work, and I complain enough that it's often the same, cutting the cards and everything, but it's an outlet for my creativity to work on the bags and offer the gilded edges. Also, it was a good
mm,
addition, I think.
yeah.
it creates, I mean, at the same time, I'm a little bit worried because these decks becomes more and more jewelry piece, kind of like super precious, super expensive, and it's kind of museum piece. Or I don't pretend that, but due to the time I spent on them, I
Mm.
need to put prices that are a little bit uh, above what any tarot lover would like
Mm.
to put in a tarot deck. But sometimes on the deck you love the most, like maybe maybe you can do it or choose like either the gilded edges
Mm.
or the painted backs. Or but
Yeah.
it's I think it's a difficult choice economically for me and for my customers, but it's really something that does not exist outside, because
No.
you cannot put like 30 or 50 hours of work on one piece and have a personal customers, or otherwise you talk to industrials or you talk to
Mm.
professionals who have this kind of orders.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like sometimes it's not really reasonable to spend so much time on one piece, but at the same time it makes them unique and it's what I love to do. So
Mm.
I'm still doing the decks like uh, without customized
Yeah.
backs and edges, and so I try to do everything possible. And also, I want to say, like for now, I I said that it was going to be a website, an e-shop,
Mm.
and everything got slowed down. But I got the news tonight. The web designer has finished.
Oh
So
wow.
now I'm entering the correction stage,
Mm.
and it should be online in French next week, something like that, and
That
in
looks.
English in couple weeks. And
Mm.
finally, I can show you right now this. I'm gonna have a couple of decks available for. No, it's gonna be the Dodal deck,
Let me
78
see.
cards in a hard case, manufactured, of
Mm.
course. The
And
V.
your manufactured ones, they come in the linen cardstock, right? So it's more like kind
Yes,
of linen. Yeah, yeah.
the linen finish, and with the box this time I think
Mm.
it's a great addition. And the little noble will be available again, because now on Etsy everything has been sold out, and there is
But
nothing.
can you show the box from a bling? The box looks so cute.
Yes, I mean they're not so thick, like the cardboard is a little bit thin, I think, but
No,
still
just
it's.
the design of the box is really like the colors, the red and the navy, they just look really cute.
I
Yeah.
just had fun with that. Like I took, I think, for each deck, like the colors of
Mm.
the cloth, or the colors of the stencils. And for the Viet, it's more like greenish.
Yeah. Can you show a few colors from the Worth? Because I don't have the Oswald Worth Terra.
There is something about these colors that I changed, and it's another story, because someone one day, out of the blue, I don't know how, I don't know why, decided to have the Viet deck
Mm.
handmade with the gilded symbols.
Mm.
And on the original version of this deck, the backs, they are really kind of light green colors, or
Mm.
mushroom color, I would say.
Yeah.
And I was thinking with the golden details, like it's not going to show nice, it's not going to contrast nice. So all the backgrounds, I put them dark green. And for the
Mm.
funny story, I said it's like the GPS in the night, it
Mm.
comes dark.
Yeah.
And we kept this color, like
Mm.
the customer really liked it. And then I thought, I'm keeping it for everything else
Yeah.
now.
Oh, very
So
nice.
it's a little bit different than all the different Virt decks you're gonna
Mm.
find. They all have different colors
Yeah.
on the backs. This one is my little addition to
Mm.
this edition.
Yeah. Well, my friend has your birth deck, handmade deck as well, so I did see some cards. I mean, yeah, yeah. They're just really beautiful.
But
Yes, so you know, you how you were saying that just bring you, yeah. So with the decks that they absolutely they become kind of a museum piece, right? What you create, but also I know, well, Mindy, she's running a little late for our chat today, and myself, we have your decks, and I'm not sure, like if Nikki, please just respond in the comment if you use Agnes's decks for readings, but Mindy and I can say that we use your decks all the time for readings. Like, I mean, they're very special, they're very precious, but for me, like, I wouldn't like I'm actually I love investing into something that has so much energy, like the decks that you create. But also, like, for me, I wouldn't invest just to keep it as a collector item, because I'm not a collector, right? So I only kind of do invest, even more so if I really want to use the deck, and if I already know that I will love it. Yeah.
yes, I really designed them so we can use them. Like
Mm,
it's what I want to use for my deck, and it's funny because I still I don't have my handmade decks for me. Like I didn't make it, but I made one, and it's the Karaja. We spoke
mm,
about it last time, and I finally made one. Um, Indeed, I'm using it now for reading for me, and it's yeah. I mean, of course, we can use them for reading, and I'm shuffling it every day, and it doesn't change the edges or anything.
mm.
It stays in the same shape.
What
And
bags did you make for yourself?
I'm sorry.
What bags did you make for yourself? The backing of the cards.
Yeah, the bags I put the dark blue. It's a dark blue with little. Oh, now I need to find
Oh,
the
gosh,
paper edges. So
yeah.
there is a little shine of glitter, gilded glitter on it. I'm looking for the. It's difficult on video and it's difficult on photography. Like we came to the point where like the picture is not giving justice
Yeah, yeah.
to the paint, but
Mm,
it's a dark blue, and maybe I have one here that shows more a little bit more contrast.
mm. Ah, yeah, yeah. The speckles, the golden speckles, they show
There
better.
it shows a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I was amazed with this Karaja deck.
Mm,
It's crazy how it reads. I just
mm,
love using it. It gives like
yeah.
different answers. It changes my way of thinking about the arcanas.
Mm,
The colors are really giving new details, new orientation.
yeah. And it's
Uh,
so charming because only yesterday, I don't have Karaja from you, but I got one. Oh, well, I got, yeah, confession. I
yes,
got
I
two
got it from
copies.
Pablo, and it's so
Yeah,
cool.
from Pablo. Yeah, because with Pablo decks, I love them so much that I need to have two copies. One that I can carry with and use, and one just to cover, not like as a museum piece or collector item, but more like a backup.
Yes,
If
of
it comes
course.
the time when I can't get them. So yeah, they only arrived yesterday. I was so like excited that in time for my birthday, I have my Karaja to do a reading.
That is
Yeah.
super cool. That's super cool. It's great that he's also doing the decks because they're all wanted all over the world, and I think it's super cool. That he's
Mm,
also doing his own production
yeah.
because what I'm doing is so special. I don't see other production being competitive or
Mm,
being like against. Like I don't think in this way. It's like it's very special. It's so special that it's not because someone wants a Pablo Robledo deck is going to come to me.
mm,
Of course, I think his notoriety is helping me for sure,
mm,
but the public for this kind of decks it's very special, and
mm.
I'm very happy is having like production in South America. It helps also people from South America to purchase his decks
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this price in South America it makes people scream. It's
Mm,
like it's,
yeah.
it's difficult to explain also.
I think
So
it's good for everyone. There is kind of a niche for everyone, and maybe some of us want to have like one very special deck, right? But also some of people who read at reading fairs, you kind of want to take the deck that you can replace, right? So something
yes,
that's like,
of course.
yeah, something that you can use, yeah, and allow people to touch,
Yes.
yeah. I'll just quickly highlight Nikki's comment that Nikki has five of your decks,
Yeah.
Agnes, with now with another order on order. I read a lot for myself and friends and family, but I hope to read more publicly soon. So yeah, with the
Yeah,
precious decks as well. Yeah.
it's,
And that's not that, I mean, yeah, but those people who have your decks, once you get the deck from you, you just can't stop shuffling it. I just, yeah, that's the thing. Like, there is no way I will put it in the box and in the cabinet. I love shuffling them, but
yeah. I
it's
mean,
the
they're made for shuffling. Like there is no
yeah.
problem. It's not like
No,
it's
it's just
really
the
hard to
sound and the tactile feel, like in hands.
go
It's just
like this. It's yeah, it smells a little bit, and yeah, that's the
mm. We have a minority tarot pocket. Oh, the tarot healer. It's a long name here. That like you to own some of your decks as well, some of your cards. Wonderful tools of great beauty, quality, and resistance. Yeah, beautifully said.
Yes, he's Oscar, and he's doing like it's good. Follow him on the social media. He's making super creative adjustments of two different
Okay.
arcanas,
All
and
right.
it's so creative. It's so cool. I always love reading his post because like it makes
Mm,
us think differently. It's cool.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I'll need to
yes,
check. Yeah.
I was currently because I'm putting the website, the e-shop website, and everything. It's like everything is a little bit shifting towards something a little bit more serious with Cartogram, and I'm now taking all the orders that I took in the last 3 years, putting them into an accountant
Mm,
software, and I see each one of the orders, and I can remember the people, I can remember the story, I can remember the thing, and it's like yeah, I think each deck is from
mm,
one soul to another soul, so I feel very happy about that.
mm,
uh, I think, I mean, sometimes I mean, this is something I really love doing. Maybe I cannot do
mm.
it full time, but it makes me happy in my soul to be able to provide this service. I'm happy to continue as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, it makes us very happy as well. Yeah. But can you share a little bit more about the techniques, how you create the customized bags, and maybe also how you choose the colors, because I'm like, well, I'm waiting for a deck from you. And for me, it was like a no-brainer that I would love you to help me with the choice, right? Because I really trust you and I want it to come from you, right? From your inspiration. And I know that probably many of your customers do the same, but how do you go with choosing the particular like dominant color palette for the bags?
So it depends. Sometimes, I mean, actually, for the Mamluk, um, it came, the Mamluk design, so more like this.
Mm,
Um, Voila. Okay. Oops. Like this. So, this, oh, it's inverted. So I'm a little bit lost. This blue is talking a lot with this blue. They're kind of, they're, they can function together. And this blue here is this, it's not
mm,
the same, but it's kind of the same with a stronger and darker tone. And it came with this idea of this fitting to the blue of the Mamluk deck. And it was also inspired by a book in French. It's L'usage du monde. It's from a Swiss writer from the beginning of the 20th century who
mm,
traveled from Switzerland to the south of India with a very small car and working on his way. It was not like a touristic travel, it was really like a life travel. And the book is about like melting from the Western culture to the Eastern culture. And at some point in the book, he's talking about the blue, the Oriental blue,
mm,
coming, I think, from the lapis lazuli, but also the turquoise. Turquoise.
mhm,
Mm, he had such a poetic way to speak about this color. I could feel it somehow. And with this in mind, I tried different things. So you see, we have here the turquoise. It doesn't show
mm.
so much under the light. Maybe like this, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit greenish.
Yeah.
And this one is a lot about lapis lazuli. So
Mm,
it's a kind of a gradation. And Actually, in decorative painting, you will always see even in the final result, you're going to have some reflection with that first color. That's here. That's here. It's present. It's beneath it, but it's present because everything is so transparent. But maybe I'm going to show you a little bit if you want to see the technique. I
Yeah, no,
prepared a
absolutely.
video with my paint, so we can maybe switch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'll just kind of wait for you to move your camera, and then I'll
Okay.
bring you in. Yeah.
I'm coming like this. So here we are.
Okay, I'll just add it in, and then I will bring you in as well as a solo layout. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Okay, so this one is a little bit long to do because it's many steps, but I have this one which goes with a little bit less colors and it goes with the indigo color. But we start from the yellow and white, the light blue, and then two different ways to work with a more darker. So we can try and maybe if it requires a drying time, we can go back, see other decks, and I'm
Mm.
gonna let you know when it needs to dry.
Yep.
So let's start.
Yeah, exciting.
So I have here ready the yellow color that's here. Actually, it's a
Mm.
green, but it's very with a high dilution. It looks more like a yellow. Okay. Now we start. So So this piece of paper, I prepared it, so the water doesn't go in. It's
Mm.
um, it's like a varnish I put on this, and it allows to work the color much longer. So like it's nicely wet. And you see, I work with a sea sponge
Mm.
that like so many different shapes, and it gives a lot about the natural or the nature feel comes a lot from this sponge, actually. Et là, ok, celui-là. So now I'm going to apply the paint a little bit. And that's where we try just to not do something, just apply it.
Mm.
Not very regularly, and it's hasard, we can call it hasard, or chaos, or
Yep.
just aléatoire. It's a French word. I
Mm.
don't know exactly. And now I'm working, the color around. So some places I remove it. And once I remove it, I give it a shape with the sponge.
Mm.
And sometimes with more water, sometimes with less. Can add a little bit.
Did you add some water there, like some drops of water?
Yes, I added some drops.
Mm.
Sometimes I really want to be like, we can go as much as we want with water. It's funny. Because it's going to set anyway. So sometimes I just drop it like this. And sometimes I remove it drastically so it gives a contrast, or it gives the shape of the sponge. And I like to keep areas without the color to give, in the end, this variation. Because this one, we're not going to see it anymore, but it's going to give something in the end, we're going to see.
Yeah.
So that's the yellow. And I think it can dry for 5-10 minutes,
Mm.
like this. And usually I use the fan to accelerate it a little bit, but it's going to be so heavy for you to listen to the fan. So if you like, during the drying time, maybe we can go over a deck or over the pailin if you want to see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
vessel.
absolutely, yeah. And maybe I'll hold on. I'll just quickly bring you back in so we all on screen. I'll just quickly ask you a question about the I had on Instagram from Bry, and he was asking. Let me just find the question. He was asking me to ask you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
think
yeah, his question is, could you ask Agnes how she rubs the soap into her cards and why and what benefit it has? You did like we did kind of talk a little bit last time on that, but he just kind of had a question about do you
yeah.
use like a whole like block of soap or because Easter Rochelle was saying that he kind of uses more soap of the semi-liquid state, but
Mhm.
but Bri wanted to know about how you do it.
Yes, I mean, I use sometimes the liquid soap. Actually, I do when I gild the symbols on the faces because I cannot soap and then gild. It's impossible. So I put the gold on the symbols and the crowns and scepters.
Yeah.
And once all the gold is finished, I varnish the gold, and then I need to add the soap on the card. Um, and I use the liquid soap because it's much more softer on the gold. It
Mhm.
wouldn't break the gold. That's the only case I'm using the liquid soap, because when I use the liquid soap, it has a tendency to go inside the paper and move the ink a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good way to smooth the cards. It depends probably of the printer that he has if you want to do it. Certainly, it's always the same thing. Like try and see if it's good for you because like maybe
Yeah.
it's good. In my case, I tried it and I wasn't really sure to use it every time. Sometimes I'm using it. Sometimes I have very bended sheets
Mm.
of cards and I put the liquid soap, but I need to put very small amount with a very special brush. It's like it's a hell. I prefer not to.
Yeah.
And but concerning the dry soap, I'm using a natural soap, like
Mm.
organic, something that is like less chemicals as possible inside.
And you just use like the bar of soap, right? When, the bar of soap, and then you just
Yeah.
put it, like yeah, because
So
you did demonstrate it last time, yeah.
I can show like quickly. It's even possible to do it again, as a little maintenance. You can take the card. So imagine it's really, I mean, you have to do it on something very strong,
Like a
let's do it
surface like that to put it
on
on,
this,
yeah.
on something that's really flat.
Mm.
And I just put the soap. I don't press so much, like I just put it like nicely on it, like this. And then I'm using a special tool with the agate stone on it. Just let me grab it.
Mm.
Okay, I'm trying to find the right angle. Chook, chook, here. So I have this tool.
Mm.
It's a gilder tool. It's
Mm.
used to make the gold shine in traditional gilding. But because the stone is very smooth and flat, I can use it for this job. And basically, I just press the soap inside
Mm.
as strong as possible, but not like breaking the paper.
Yeah.
And actually, what's happening when we do this is it's changing the surface of the paper. It's
Mm.
even changing the molecular geometry of the
Mm.
surface of the paper. And this is something that a paper maker told me. Told me like the paper is a little bit, open uh, pores. Can we say pores?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah,
Like the
absolutely.
skin, like it's
Yeah.
open.
Mm.
And
Mm.
we press this on it, and it just closes the pores and it makes the surface of the paper much stronger
Mm,
um, than the paper as it is before. So it's good for durability, and the soap helps the cards slide on each
mm,
other's
mm. Yeah.
without rubbing too much. Because it's for sure, like if I keep doing this for I don't know how many hours,
Mm,
at some point it's gonna wear. This is for sure.
mm,
So
mm,
the soap helps to maintain, of course, a nice um, a nice surface that can slide on each other.
mm, mm.
That's
Yeah.
the answer to the question.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And it feels really good in the hands. But yeah, let's talk about me, my deck.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
so for those of people who don't know, and you did reveal it last time, right? And it's really exciting. Like, I mean, it's so exciting for Cartagram that you are producing 10 copies, right, of Jean Payen. Is it Jean-Pierre Payen or Jean Payen Tarot?
this 1943 edition is
Yeah,
probably the Sun.
yeah,
Let me
yeah,
check a
yeah.
second of.
Yeah.
Oops. This one just. It's Jean. It's a Jean Payan.
Jean Payen, yeah, wonderful, yeah.
This one fell. Let me find another one.
But for those people, Agnes, who didn't see our first chat, our first conversation, can you please share a little bit like how you decided to handcraft the paella deck and how you went about it and about the museum that you got it from?
Um, so it's a long story and it goes back to years ago actually.
Mm,
I have a common friend with Pablo Robledo and his Jean-Luc Lanez, who's living in France and is
mm,
really a tarot lover. And he's been working with Pablo Robledo in a long, I mean, they've been exchanging a lot, and I've been exchanging with him a lot. And he was like keeping me aware of what's happening on the forums. I don't know so much what's happening on the forums because
mm,
honestly, I don't have time for forums. Like social media is taking a lot, and
mm,
it happens that one Popes card appears in a very old book binding. So someone who renewed the binding of this old book found in the inside this card, and it was like a unique card
mm,
inside the binding. Sometimes we have the card sheets used as a reinforcement of paper,
mm,
but this was just one card, I think, that's
mm.
put inside and hidden in the binding of the book. It's very mysterious. I don't know the.
It was the card itself, right? So it wasn't the part of paper, it was just inside the book there was a card.
Yes,
Oh wow. Hmm.
and not inside the book, but inside the binding
Inside
of the
the
book.
binding,
You
yeah,
know, like
yeah,
it's only when you do the renovation of the book,
yeah.
like the professional bookbinder remove this, for example, the leather and the inside
Mm,
paper, and they found the
mm,
Popper's card
mm,
alone in this. So it show up on the forum, or maybe not on the forum, but it show up to Yves Reynaud, because
mm,
probably it was in the Marseille area, and
yeah.
Yves is a master guy from
Mm,
this
mm,
area,
mm,
so
mm.
he knew about it. And it is actually, I think we can see the card in the book uh, from Isabelle Nadolny.
Okay. Mm.
He, it's I have it here. Um,
So
it's
the card that was found in the binding of the book was the the La Papessa from this Fournier edition of Payen. Payen,
actually
Payen
not, actually not. But someone said in a forum that it was like the
Mm,
païen from the Fournier Museum, and I was
mm,
like, wow, that's very interesting because on this popes there was the purple color, and this color we see in the very oldest deck in Lyon uh, before 16th century.
mm,
And we don't, it's like it's not a trend anymore later. So I
mm,
was thinking, maybe it's super old card. I'm really super interested with this card. And let's contact the Fournier Museum, like
Mm,
very fast forward like
yeah.
this. And actually, it is not the same card. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can try to see, but maybe it's going to take too much
Mm.
time. If I can see the card like this, tuk, 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 tuk.
But what made you fall in love when you saw the deck once the Fournier Museum, they once you kind of contacted them, what did why this particular payen? Because there is another payen already, like the 1709, right? The earlier payen available, but you
Indeed, indeed, because I have this païen from Yves Reynaud, like Marseille Héritage, this one.
yeah.
And it's a very good restitution. It's a very good facsimile. It's perfect for the history reference and to compare the different decks. And the lines are very well made, and the colors are well rendered, and it's a perfect deck.
Mm, mm,
But I don't like to use it somehow because
mm.
the faces of this deck are a little bit like, I don't know, they're a little bit like not satisfied. Like, I don't want to say it's the bad
Yeah,
day, but I'm not feeling comfortable, for example, with this King of Wands.
yeah,
It
they're
doesn't.
all like grumpy.
They're a little bit grumpy. They're a little bit upset. Like this one too, I think, is a little bit upset.
Mm. Oh, most
Um,
of them, and the queens are especially.
yes, this one is. I mean, they're often like Queen of Coins are always like a little bit special.
Mm,
But it's like they're all kind of heavy energy, I feel, about the faces, because the deck is a very nice rendition of the païen. I say
mm,
it's a beautiful piece of work, and I love it, and I have it, and I'm watching it often for comparison.
mm,
And when I saw the faces on the païen from Fournier, it's different. So it's
mm.
another engraving.
Yeah.
I didn't compare yet card by card. So
Mm,
I know there is little differences. I know they tried to reproduce exactly the same details in the same
mm,
place, but there is little variation in the lines. And
mm,
the faces are a little bit easier to work with, I
mm,
think.
mm.
And also the colors are completely different. And
Yeah.
if you want to see the colors, I worked a
Yeah.
little bit on them.
Mm.
Uh, they're not exactly as the in the museum, but this
So I'm
is
so excited to, once I have your deck to put Eve's deck and your payen side by side because I love compare like placing decks side by side and look for those details.
that
Yeah.
would be very interesting then to compare
Mm,
card by card. And
mm.
if I have one here that's like I had them here.
I really love your blues. The blues look really beautiful.
So we don't see so much here as my lights. It's not the best lighting condition but there are going to be more picture on the Instagram for
Yeah.
sure to know. Okay, this is for example the comparison of this. Okay, these two
Mm.
guys.
The king. Yeah.
So uh, maybe if I move my phone, maybe on the it's going to be easier. Can we try that, Masha, to go
Yeah.
on the second, to go on the
Yeah.
phone?
I'm getting you in there. No, the wrong one. Sorry. I will let you now. Hold on.
It's easier with the light, I think, here.
Okay,
I
so
think.
now, yeah, here we are. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
very
Oh,
different, eh?
maybe not so precise.
But much better, yeah. And the colors are very different.
So I don't know if it shows very well, but we have here a lighter green, where here it's more like an emerald green.
Mm,
Basically, it's quite, the colors are quite the same. They didn't use the same pigments, for sure.
mm,
but especially on the green. But here you see like there is a difference here on the grass, and there is here this red, and here it is not.
Mm,
So this can be the crown, and this can be the crown, but with the red part in the middle, because sometimes we say that the king of coin like doesn't have a crown on the head, but he has the crown on the ground. Um, so it's a different spirit, and
mm,
the face is a little bit different too.
yeah.
I mean, this one is also not so easygoing, I must say.
Mm, mm,
It's not like there's not so it's not so simple to compare, but and I contacted the Fournier Museum, and I didn't have news for I think a year or year and a
mm,
half. So I was thinking, well, this is a no. It's like
mm,
impossible. I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna ask again and see if just maybe my demand was lost or something. And someone very very nice answered me and explained me that it was going to be too difficult to ask for commercial copy,
mm,
and for the manufactured decks like it's going to be like too complicated, too difficult, impossible. But he said like for the artisanal handmade edition, not a problem, we're
mm,
going to do it. And they only asked me in return to send them a handmade deck.
mm.
So I think this one is the one that's gonna go to them.
Oh, okay, so you're working on theirs as well. Yeah.
Yes, I've been crafting 5, but
Mm,
actually one is for the museum, so this one I think doesn't count on the total of 10.
yeah.
So I've been doing 4. Yeah,
Mm. I'm
and
so excited.
I'm sorry.
I'm so excited about mine.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, and now I want to show you that it's been, for example, when I work on a deck with handmade and personalized back. What's happening is I do the cardstock. For example, this is the cardstock, and then I protect the faces so we don't
Mm,
see now. And I start working on the back with colors. And for example, this is the background for your deck. And
wow.
I've been a little bit working on the blue again
Mm,
because it's a blue and it's also green, kind of. It's
mm.
really oceanic, I think. And
So
also, I
beautiful.
know you're in Australia, so I think that you have
Mm,
this oceanic kind of corallian sea.
mm.
And also, it matches the colors of the deck
It's stunning, Agnes. I love it.
because we have here this emerald green. Oh, we don't see it. Okay, it's here. So we have here something like a emerald green here, and we're gonna find it here in the background, this emerald green.
Mm,
And then I'm
wow.
gonna work with the whiter color because you chose the white patina,
Mm,
and this white patina is a lot about contrast.
mm,
So I need to work first the background with kind of stronger colors, and then I'm gonna go with different kind of whites to add contrast
mm.
and also to answer this more creamy tone of the paper.
Yeah.
It's in the process. It needs to dry a little bit more, and very soon, it's flying to you.
It's so wonderful. Thank you so much for doing it. And like we haven't spoken, but I actually love water. I love to be in the water, that kind of the blues and the sea is just like, yeah, it's just stunning. Very special for sure.
Yes, but we it's kind of somehow. I mean, I truly feel sometimes that we once we know each other, once we talk a little bit, or once we exchange even couple emails,
Yeah.
makes it easier to adapt what I'm doing to the people. Um, I know what is not going to be good. Yeah, I don't know always what's going to be good, but sometimes I do something and say, okay, no, it's not right for them. I know it's not right. I'm not going to send it. and sometimes I redo, you know. Um, for you, it was this work on adapting this white patina, because the white patina didn't fit somehow the payan deck so well. It needed this adaptation.
Mm,
So I did the first adaptation with the background, and soon it's coming the adaptation with the lighter color and white colors.
mm.
So it's going to be something special.
We're also honored and I'm so grateful. Yeah, so grateful for you for doing this work. Yeah, and for your
That's
adaptation.
what makes it interesting to me, like to work like this and adapt all the time,
Mm,
like this.
mm,
So
mm.
maybe our paint is dry, unless you want to start
No,
with
let's have a look. Let's have a look, and then we'll yeah, continue with the kind of the paint, the demonstration, and then we'll talk about your personal decks as well.
Okay. So I'm putting this like this here. Okay, I think we're fine. The phone is moving a little bit more. Oh, oops. Sorry.
I'm just adding you in. Yeah.
This one. So now I'm gonna apply the to this paint. I'm gonna apply this layer here.
Mm,
Um, that's again something very with a lot of dilution, and it's a light blue. So usually I do my paint and I keep it. If I finish it, I finish it, but I have the recipes and I keep it ready for another time. So that's really good for tonight. Okay, so this one.
and what particular paints do you use? Is it like a brand, or you buy like a few different ones?
Um, I'm using, then it depends, you know. I'm using sometimes the pigments
Mm,
because it's, um, in the end, it's less expensive also, but it's not always about expensiveness. But with my pigments, I can do the paint as much as I need, you know.
mm,
Like I take, if I need a little bit of paint, I take just a little bit of pigment. If I
yeah.
need a lot of paint, I can do also a lot of paint with pigment. And otherwise, usually for the final layers, I'm using some Liquitex paint,
Mm,
and it's acrylic.
yeah.
I'm using mostly acrylics because once it's dry, the water cannot change them. It's not the most natural paint, but it's very resistant, and the varnish are very good. Because if I use aquarelle, it's going to be probably much more fragile in the end.
Mm, yeah.
So mostly acrylics. So here we are. I have this one. I'm going to try the transparency here. So this is not transparent enough for me.
And when you do like, the layers by layers, the final kind of when the backs are complete, how many hours would it be like for the backs to dry?
Um, I mean, the thing is that each layer needs to be dry before I do the second layer.
Yeah.
So in the end, the very last layer, it dries kind of fast. Like it's
Mm,
gonna take maybe I mean, usually drying time for acrylics, it's at least 30 minutes. And sometimes I can accelerate it with a fan, I mean, hair dryer or something like this to make the drying faster. But in the end, the varnish usually I never hair dry it. Like it has to set quietly, really. It's much better for the stability of the paint and for the final finish. So I think here I have like the nice transparency. So again, I'm putting a lot of water on it. Oh, I should. Actually, this one I can do like this. So here, I'm going to use a different technique here. It's I put the same paint everywhere, and then I'm going to remove from place to place. I'm going to see. Um,
And this is just a brush that you use?
in French, we call it brosse à patine,
Okay.
and it's like a broom somehow.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah,
use the,
pretty much like a broom, yeah.
but actually, it's really flat and has a lot of hair, so it gives this. It works a lot of surface in the same time. And now I'm going with a sponge again, and I'm going to open it place by place. I'm removing it. I'm printing some sponge details here. And it creates another variation. It creates something else.
Yeah, and the textures as well.
Can you see on the screen?
Yeah, I can like little bit, yeah, but you see like the StreamYard screen is a bit smaller than the YouTube one. So on YouTube one I think we'll be able to see much better.
Ah, okay. And okay, at this point I'm going to leave it like this to dry again. And maybe with the phone I can go a little bit closer.
Oh wow.
So it's
Very
not
pretty.
finished, of course, but it gives another layer with a lot of transparency and little concentration. Some places it's almost no blue paint. So it creates a variation, and that's really what I'm looking for.
Wow.
So now it's going to be another 10 minutes or 15 minutes drying. If we have time to go a little bit more, I don't know how
Yeah,
much time you have,
absolutely.
Masha.
No, we can talk about decks now. So yeah, it's absolutely I
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I know it's getting late for you. For me, it's just the beginning of my day. So I'm very happy to start my birthday with you this morning.
But I'm so happy to be here talking about the tarot. It's great, and I'm feeling always good in the night. So it's um, it's really perfect. So here I took some. Sorry, I
Mm,
took some bags that I'm using all the time.
yeah.
Uh,
And what was your first one? Like, what deck did you learn from or began to learn tarot from?
in fact, it's very funny because at the beginning, when I was interested into tarot, I wasn't like gonna buy a tarot. I was feeling a little bit shy about this, and I go to the second-hand shop and go to the game and play for kids, and I find not this one actually, but it's coming from this one, the 22 arcanas from the Tarot Cosmic. And but it was a very miniature version that came for free in Femme Actuelle, which is a magazine in France. It's actually this one, Femme Actuelle. It's a magazine in France.
Yeah.
And I think every year they choose a designer, a tarot designer, and they show their work, and they give for free like 22 cards.
Mm,
Or it's very low quality cards, and they're very small, like they're big like this. But it's for fun, you know. It's for commercial reason, I guess. But I had the 22 cards.
mm.
So like the Maison Dieu was like this. Uh, this is the Butler.
It's actually like this deck. Well, in English, of course, it's Cosmic Terror, right? And I have a couple of friends. It's one of their favorites.
Oh, really?
Hmm. I do
And
know it as well, actually.
I used it, and I start learning the major arcanas with this deck, and it was working somehow. I had very like insight and feelings and imagination and many things. But soon I was thinking like, um, what if I have, for example, the star here, what it would be with the Marseille deck, you know, because I want to know what the Marseille deck would say about this one. I
Hmm.
see here this very scene in the night, inspiring, like soft. But what is it in the Marseille deck? And then I switched to the Marseille deck,
Hmm.
and once you, because you asked me the question last time, like what was
Hmm.
my first tarot deck, I think like, man, I need to have this cosmic tarot and figure what was the starting point. So
Hmm.
I bought it in a full version of the 78 cards, and I used it a little bit.
Hmm.
um, it's really good, you know, because it's actually giving this imagery for the minor arcanas that can definitely help.
Hmm.
Because I think the Marseille Tarot is a little bit tough with the minor arcanas. It's a different kind of work probably,
Yeah,
but
it
this
is
one
different. Yeah.
it has a scene each time, so it helps. I think it helps with with the approach of the minor arcana. I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
I felt it's really for good for romantic readings and love readings, because you know you have these faces very passionate. Uh, you have this emotional Ten of Cups. You know that this one I think is very interesting because
Hmm.
it's not often the Ten of Cups is shown like the little bit fed up of too much. You know, it's it's
Like one cup too many.
it's it has a very singular sometimes meanings on the cards. Reine de bâton, so she's really like uh, assertive and confident. This Ten of Sword here, and we see here the geometric
Hmm.
pattern. Um, and I felt this one was really, you know, like l'amoureux is. It's completely, I would say, it's opposite from the Marseille, because this is
Hmm.
really love affair, you know. And I
Yeah.
think the Marseille l'amoureux is more about being self-assertive and be self inspired, and go
Hmm.
for what we love for ourselves and not go for one or for the other one. But this one is much more about the relation, you know. I think for
Yeah.
love readings, it's just great, you know.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
Baton is just like the charming prince,
Hmm.
and it's a very nice imagery. Also, it's very refined deck, and it's quite. What do you think? I don't know what's your the people you know who are using it, if they like it because it's close to the Rider Waite, or if they like it for different reasons.
Well, I know one of my friends who likes it. I think, well, yeah, because of the illustrated pips, you know, pretty much,
Mhm.
yeah. Because it's more kind of RWS, yeah. But I think I just don't, because I don't really read with this deck, but I don't know from memory. I think somebody even mentioned that they see some Thoth influence in it, and that's why they love it. One of the people I know, I'm not sure.
They saw some. I didn't get that. What
Like,
was implemented in
no,
this?
yeah, some Thoth influence, you know, like RWS, Terre de
Oh,
Marseille. and of the thought, yeah.
Oh, the cloth. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Actually, this geometrical pattern we saw on the ten of spade, like probably maybe,
Mm,
but it's less like this. I mean, the thoth or the thos. I Someone offered it to me once, and it
mm,
was just a mess in my life since the deck arrived in my home. Like it was like everything out of control. And I was
mm.
like, yeah, like what is this deck? You know, I put it in a corner somewhere with a stone on it. I was like, okay, just stay
Mm,
there. And it's very strong energy. I think this one probably is a little bit softer and easier.
yeah, yeah. I see
Um,
you have Salabusca from Giordano Berti from Rinascimento Italian. Why is it so special to you? Why did you bring it out?
I think um, this deck is the deck that wants you, that makes you willing to paint a deck somehow. It's the artwork from the Renaissance.
Mm,
I mean, it's been Italian masters who drew the deck and painted the deck. It's incredible, and it's also, I think, uh, super connected to the antique and Greek mythology.
mm,
And I think this is one of the doors to study the tarot, because the antique and Greek mythology is so full of symbols and stories that are very deep into the psyche, into the psychological nature of men and women and humanity. I think there is a lot to learn from mythology, and I think the tarot takes a lot from the mythology in terms of the symbols.
yeah,
And the Solabuska is a lot also. I mean, of course, in this era in Italy, it was all about the antique mythology.
mm.
It was the Renaissance. But
Yeah, it's a lot of symbolism, yeah, because I only 2 weeks ago I had Giordano Berti on my channel. And I
mm,
mean, he is the person, right? He knows so much about like the esotericism and symbolism when it comes to art and tarot. And yeah, this deck has so much of it. And yeah, I love it because it's just so beautiful. The Renaissance art is just absolutely stunning.
the art is, it's incredible.
Oh,
And
we
we
have the
have
same time at the same time.
that's so fun. And I'm
Okay,
called
so has the message for us, Agnes. I'll pull him out.
we're on the same frequency. And yeah, it's, I mean, he knows the deck the most, and I think he's talking about it so well. So I'm
Mm,
going to listen to your interview with him. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful, Carol. And
yeah.
to
The
learn more.
blues are very
This is, of
pretty.
course, a lot about the Renaissance and discovery of the antique world,
Yeah.
antique Roman and antique Greek, that I think is giving a lot of symbols in it.
Mm,
And mostly, so here we have the zero, the full, maybe, if we can call it like this.
mm, mm.
And I think in many places we have a representation of Hermes.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a lot about chemical kind of, and the context, I guess, behind it. Yeah.
yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, I say of course, but it's really not so easy because I'm not so much. I would like to know more about the alchemical part of tarot.
Yeah,
That
I don't have it with me, but there is a book written by, in Italy there is a Tarot museum, and the director of the museum is Mariana Poltronieri, and
Mhm.
she and another person they wrote. It's only like it's probably like 100 pages or something book, and it actually talks about Salabusca and the alchemy, the alchemical, alchemical influence beyond the cards. Really good book. It's available in PDF, but yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna check this out as soon as I can because it's
Yeah. I
it's
will
very
message
interesting.
you.
With
I will message
this
you.
hat in shape of the snail, it's very interesting. And here we have like the feet with little wings like Hermes,
Mhm.
and the kind of hat Hermes could have. Um, Venturio, uh,
Mhm.
the three of spades. That's
Mhm.
like the inspiration to the Solar Busca, probably. So
Yeah.
to me it's the deck to have because it's historically it's giving so much, and the
Mm.
artwork is it's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, and also it's interesting how, like, it's the first deck with sort of illustrated minors, right? And it dates like not even 1500. I think it was 1491. Yeah, it was 1491, I think, when it was like colored, and yeah, from my memory. So it's not like earlier than 1500s.
I'm personally about the history of decks. I'm of tarot. Um, I don't know precisely everything. Sometimes when I need to find the right information, I need to go search for it. And
Mm,
usually Thierry de Police or one of these beautiful and super knowledgeable historian, they have it somewhere on the internet, on some
mm,
forums, on some books.
yeah,
Because I don't keep all this in mind. I'm a lot about the fabrication, the handwork
mm,
kind of.
yeah, the
And,
production. Yeah.
I try to use the deck. I try to get inspired by the decks, and then the time is lacking for the history class sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like a little bit of everything, like little bit of I just
That's
like I get started with my decks because like if I use the deck or if I study, I like to know a little bit of history, but not like yeah, not overwhelmingly too much. And that's why it's so wonderful to have like those people who create decks, and well, Pablo and Giordano, and Eve, they're so knowledgeable. And for me, like if I have like a burning question, I just message them, directly. It's
yes,
probably bad, but it saves me time rather than spending 3 hours looking online. It's
of
kind
course.
of yeah. I'm
It
like, hello,
creates
Papa. What about
it creates
character?
the link and it creates the energy and it raises the interest.
Mm,
Because sometimes I'm sure we're working and on one direction, and sometimes someone asks a question or asks for a special deck, and it makes me realize, oh yes, I didn't think about that.
mm,
Let's learn something about this.
mm,
And for sure, but about history, yeah, I would like to know more, but slowly, little by little.
mm,
For example, the païen 1943, I don't know. I'm sure, like graphically, it's not the same wood. It has
mm,
been engraved again, so it was maybe a copy of a copy.
mm.
And 40 years after, I know it was 1713, the first one.
1713. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
said 1709 first,
So
but yeah,
it's
1709 was Modene and 1713. Yeah.
it's 30 years later, so probably it's the next generation that maintained the business and maybe had the wood engraved again.
Mm,
But it's just supposition. It's nothing that I've been like checking on, because then you need to go to these places and check the um, in museum and check the everything you can know about some people. I mean, I cannot go everywhere, so
yeah, yeah.
I don't know much yet about this deck. And I think the museum, they have a notice, so they
Mm,
write a little bit like the datation of the deck, but they don't know much more by
mm,
themselves. Like usually they go to the big knowledgeable person and for answers. So
yeah. Historians, yeah. Mindy has just got home, so Mindy is saying hello.
oh, hello, Mandy.
And
It's really
Mindy loves
nice
the
to meet
Karaja from you, so I know that.
you.
Right. So when it comes to yeah, we talk about you mentioned that we kind of your first deck was the Cosmic Terror, right? And but then you mentioned that the Marseille deck. What was your first Terror de Marseille deck? Was it a Grimoire? I think you did mention it in our
Yes,
first chat. Yeah.
it was the Grimaud. I'm not even sure I have it here. Maybe it's up. Well, it's the Grimaud, Ancien Tarot de Marcel Grimaud.
Mm,
But at the time, I heard about Chalai. You know Chalai Younger. She
mm,
was well known in the 1980s for her work with the Grimaud Company, and she wrote the Little White Book in the 1981st edition. and that's really cool. That's really cool. The Karaja is a great deck. Like it's really.
Yeah, and we're not going to show it to Mindy, so I'll just say, because Mindy, because you are late, Agnes actually made a karaja for herself, and she did show it in the beginning, but you can watch later. Mindy is a good friend of mine. Yeah, she will understand.
And so, well, the Marseille, the Ancien Tarot de Marseille, I was using it, and usually, actually, at this time, my daughter was maybe 1 year old.
Mm,
So I had this deck, and I was thinking like it's okay, like she can take the card, and it's like I can find another one if I
mm,
need. And actually, she was quite respectful of these cards. I must say they're all together, except one, and but mostly I think the booklet, the little white booklet from Chalai, was really helpful to start from the good fit,
mm,
good foot actually, and it was a good help, along with the Jean-Claude Flornoy, A Pilgrimage of the Battler.
mm,
He wrote the book about his personal experience with tarot. And I think these two texts, they were really helping me not to relate to all kind of big symbolism and go more to the analogical and personal feeling and
mm,
have this experience of the arcanas for myself. Not saying like, okay, like typically in the Rider Waite, like the As de Denier is a new beginning.
mm,
Okay, so but their approach was more like look at the card and maybe I don't see the new beginning, but I see the stone. And
mm,
today what is important to me is that stone here,
mm,
and that's all that matters to me, and I can meditate on this. And so they had really their explanation were good help for me to start, because I
mm,
could relate to my own feelings. And I'm so I used actually the Grimaud Ancien Tarot de
mm,
Marseille, and I used the Noblet from Jean-Claude Flornoy,
mm,
and I used these two decks. And very soon I was thinking, now I want to have a facsimile. I want to have
mm.
the real thing. And I
Yeah.
was really attracted with the Dodal, and the
Mm,
Dodal wasn't available. So it started a little bit like this. I'm going
mm,
to make my own.
mm,
And then, oh, I need to buy the files from the library to make
mm,
my so I should do more than one.
mm.
And it started like this. But
Yeah.
it was really that feel that, for example, the Dodal from Jean-Claude Flornoy was not really making me feel comfortable with the cards.
Mm,
Only the Dodal from Pablo Robledo, but it was like totally unavailable. And
mm. And
the
it came much
Dodal,
later as well. Yeah.
it was like difficult to find the right deck.
Mm,
Until the point I got this one, and that was a relief. Like
yeah.
this one was really. It was really a work I could work with and I could learn
Mm.
from.
Yeah, I have it with me as well. Yeah, it was actually my second Terre de Marseille was the Marcella from Pablo. Yeah, 2016 it was. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, and that's
it's
I
really
have good memories. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
such a
it's
good.
very good artwork.
Mm. And
It's
it's nice that like his inspiration came from like quite a few right historic decks for this one. So it's not like a convert, it's not moderne, right? It's a combination of like his research on
Mhm.
yeah, I mean the star is so pretty.
Yeah, and I really can relate to the colors of Pablo. Pablo has this taste and this talent with colors,
Mm,
and we really I can really relate to his work with this. It's always like it's sometimes surprising, always good. So it's
mm,
I love it. And this deck
Yeah,
like really
he,
took me somewhere. Like I used to draw one card a day for a year, at least a year, and I got really close with that deck. I had a lot of answers with that deck.
mm,
It's and I really love the small size. Like it's in your
mm,
hand like this. It's so
yeah.
yeah, and I'm using it a lot, and it's a perfect shape. I love it.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, well, I've been using it since 2016. You see, like, and it's like it is like it's perfect. And I traveled with it as well, so yeah, kind of looks a little bit like, yeah, you can see that I've shuffled it many times, but still good. Yeah, we have Lucy here as well from Australia. Oh, oops, wrong. Hello, Lucy.
hello.
Yeah. So well, yeah, probably like now you did answer because like I just wanted to find out like what's your most special Terre de Marseille deck. So it would be this one and your Karaja, is it?
Now it's the more you know like good decks,
Mm,
the more it's difficult to choose. But
mm,
I have the Dodal that I'm using, I think mostly.
mm,
Unless I need to feel something new in my hands, I usually have this Dodal. So I have here a version that didn't make it to the market. It was a
mm.
try, and but basically it's a manufactured Dodal deck, and and
Yeah.
I it was printed in France.
Mm,
So that's the thing. I really wanted to have my deck made in France, the
mm,
manufactured deck made in a factory in France,
mm.
and it was not possible for little volumes like I'm able to order now. So it was a minimum of 500 or 300 or
Mm.
1,000. So I said like, okay, no, I
This one that I have from you, right? That was printed in factory in France, still or not?
this one, no, this one is not printed in France.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it written behind it's made in France? Maybe it's possible, but I don't think
Like,
so.
I don't no, it's just more like says that you got the it's from it's faithful reproduction of the deck produced in preserved in London in the National Museum of London.
Yeah, because at some point on my website it was written that everything was made in France because I had this thing going with a company
Yeah, this
here. In,
one is like we see like the copy number 14 out of
yeah.
78.
Mm-mm. Yes,
Mm,
that was the very first edition that,
mm,
and it's cool. So I think yeah, it's so this one didn't was a French made that didn't go to the market, and
mm,
it's a super flexible cardstock.
yeah.
It was a little bit like a little bit mushy.
Mm,
Um, it's a very strong ink, but well, anyway, it's economically it was impossible.
yeah.
So I have this one deck at home, and I'm using it because I'm not gonna sell it, so
Mm,
I can use it. And this is my. I take it at work sometimes when I work outside
mm,
for readings to the coworkers. It can go anywhere. I'm using it in the kitchen. I'm using
yeah.
it with coffee. It's like the deck,
Mm,
like that
yeah.
goes like everywhere.
Mm,
And it's possibly the one I'm using the most. But sometimes I change. And the Karaja is so inspiring now that I'm probably more
I love
using
it so
Karaja.
much now, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, well, I only had it not even for one day, right? My Karaja arrived like yesterday afternoon, but I'm like in love. Yeah, but it's not like you said the doll because when I read for other people, like I mean, I don't read professionally, but like my family, my friends, right? I use the doll mostly to read for other people, like a different copy because I have quite a few copies of the doll, but I just don't know. It's just the deck of my choice, that I studied with as well, and I use it for others a lot. Yeah.
It's
Mm,
to me, I feel the expressions, the graphics, This
mm,
is really fast forward, like the message is happening fast. So I like the Dodal also for this, but
mm,
I like it's also very emotional,
yeah.
and it's dissymmetric.
Mm,
Um, Comparing with the convert is much more symmetrical, and this one is very dissymmetrical. And I like this; it's creating the movement, it's creating the
mm,
disbalance, and like, okay, now I know what to say. It's not like the
yeah.
perfect picture.
Mm,
It's more like, okay, this is happening now, and it's giving me more inspiration.
mm,
And actually, about the Karaja, it's there is so much, especially I think in the spades or also in the wands. Like for example, the colors disposition is is very different. You see, it's
mm,
the first time I see the Ten of Wands with this disposition of the red only on the outside,
yeah.
and it gives something different. It allows this
Mm,
space, this white space here in the middle,
yeah.
with uh, breathing is possible, or
Mm,
uncertainty is possible here, or
mm.
more energy, or there is this white core inside. I mean, there is so much I
Yeah.
can
And
imagine from.
that's the beauty of Tarot de Marseille, that like every deck is so unique, and if you put like three cards next to each other, like the message will be different depending on which deck you use as well. As you see, like I started with Camellia, and she kind of, you don't learn the meanings of the card, but you rather learn to see, like, how cards interact, how they relate to each other, and you
Mhm.
read it by picture. So every deck will be different how you would read it, because the pictures are
Right.
different, right? The colors
Mhm.
are different, like as you pointed in the, well, nine of batons, right? The density is so different to what we are used to in Terre de Marseille. Yeah.
Yes, it
Mm,
can take a very different meaning, and I see it on the minors. It's really giving something new. And look, for example, here I have the number 13. It's
mm,
it's the first time I see it this with this kind of colors. And the stencil here, the stencil
mm,
work from Pablo is really great because it allows like a different feel of the card. Like, it highlights this triangle here, and this empty triangle, which is like in the
mm,
center of the card, and
mm,
it's here. It's what we do, what we do with our hands and our body. Like, besides all the, we have no clothes, we have no family, we have no nothing, and what do we do with ourselves? Like, it's a bit like this 13. Like, what is it in the core? And it's not so much the DNA, is much more what we do from it, and it's inspiring something new. It's
mm.
each card is a discovery. I love it so much.
Yeah,
And
Nikki is saying that I read recently that Marseille decks allow a creative thinking technique called conceptual blending.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but
Conceptual.
definitely creative thinking, right? So we need to kind of see what becomes of that pattern, right? So yeah. Hmm.
It's I totally agree. I'm interested. What is the conceptual blending?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I'm
I'm gonna check
gonna
this online. Or maybe you have a chance, Nikki, to write or email each other about this. But
yeah, please do send me
interesting.
the link as well.
That
Yeah.
that's very interesting. And maybe before we finish the paint, I have this French artist uh, that is probably not very well known outside of France, and I really love her work. And she gave me a very interesting insight on the devil card. This devil card. It kind of started me in the tarot, and like, what is this devil showing up for me all
Hmm.
the time? And she made this. She she's an artist. She's really an artist, and she worked a lot on tarot decks. And I think this is one of her early work. It's Oracle Égyptien.
Hmm. What's her
Um,
name? What's the name of the artist, Agnes?
she's it's not here. It's Mira.
Mm,
Mira, Myrrha, I
mm,
think.
mm.
And this is here. Peinture de Mira. We don't see her name so well. Maybe here. Uh, does it show? But it's Myrrha. Oops.
Okay,
Mira.
yeah, we can just find it. Yeah. So, and the deck is called the Tarot of the Gypsies, or what's the name?
Oh, she made several actually, but this
Okay.
one is very interesting. It's actually 23 cards, and
Right.
it's le Tarot de l'Ange Liberté.
Mm.
So translated in English, it's the Tarot of the Freedom Angel.
Okay. Mm.
And she had an experience of life where she realized that I mean she had this very artistic life, like very full of intense life, traveling a lot, meeting a lot of people, having passion here, having passion there, like very bohemian kind of life. I
Mm.
mean, bohemian in the good sense, you know, in the artistic vibe, I would say. At some point, she went into the relationship, the toxic relationship, I would say, and it took her down the hole until she snapped out of it. And years later, she meet the guy again, and she tells her the truth. Like, I mean, she told before the truth to run.
Mm.
I mean, to walk away from the relationship. But years later, she meets again the man, and the man say, "Now, if you have the chance, read this poetry from Victor Hugo, and it is called Ange Liberté, so the
Mm.
freedom angel." And it's actually the story of the daughter of Lucifer, who travels to the depth of
Mm.
the um, uh, I mean purgatory, and all this
Mm.
representation of inferno, you know, and she
Mm.
goes down and down and down and down to meet the devil down
Mm.
there, and uh, she forgives him, and this allows him to rise and come back with the angels and meet God again. It's kind of religious, you know.
Mm.
But it's a story. I mean, the poetry is about this. It's very beautiful. I mean, Victor Hugo.
Mm. Mm.
It's very inspiring. And it was the first time I had this insight of the devil that it's sometimes uh, we can be in these toxic relations and we can be in these toxic situations, but one has something to teach the others, and it goes both ways, you know, like
Mm.
everyone is learning from the situation, and it's at the end the story of redemption.
Mm.
And it was a lot of peace coming from this story,
Yeah.
and the artwork of Mira is also full of light. It's also full of kindness. She loves the colors.
Mm.
She's inspired, I would say, and she made very nice artwork about around the tarot, I would
Yeah.
say.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So it was a nice meeting, and to me, it was really helping my little heart go on sometimes.
Mm.
It was good. It was a good discovery, and
Yeah.
it's she made also the oracle Egyptien, so
Mm.
Egyptian oracle. It doesn't have the same depth than the first one, but when you want to go about the Egyptian culture, it's very
Mm.
beautiful illustrations here. Oops. And it goes through all the Egyptian divinities and meanings. And there is a very nice booklet that helps reading the cards. And it's sometimes it's nice to complement a reading or to have a Egyptian point of view somehow.
Yeah, yeah,
So
some kind of deity message from, yeah, yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah,
so
Mindy is saying that with conceptual by a blending, it's Vincent Petici. So Vincent Petici, he is a tarot teacher and he has a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, Mindy is just directing us to check his videos.
oh
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna check
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it would be interesting to see. But what about like the future? Do you have any particular like decks or any books that you would like to maybe like have or purchase or own in the future or to study?
I want to study a lot of books, and
Mm,
I really love the mythology. And so currently, I said with Solabuska, the Greek mythology is very interesting to compare with tarot iconography.
mm,
So I did read when I was a child the Iliad, Odyssey, and the
mm,
Greek
mm,
literature, but now it takes a different meaning with my age. So I'm learning this mythology again. I had this, and I want to go like we spoke a little bit about this, and I'm going to check what you said about alchemy. And
mm,
I know alchemy goes back to the 10th or 11th century,
mm,
more Arabian countries, where it was more like the alchemy of the soul, not
mm,
especially alchemy of the metals.
mm,
It's more maybe an allegory of what alchemy really is. But anyway, I like to learn this language
mm,
and to learn a little bit more about the meanings and the spiritual meanings it can have. So I have this desire to go study a little bit more. And
mm,
currently, I mean, for the future of Cartogram, really, it's really like the new organization,
mm,
the e-shop, providing finally all the decks that I do in a easy way for the customers to order.
mm,
And it's taking much more time than I thought, but I'm on
mm,
it, so it's gonna go. And for new decks, no, I don't have yet.
mm,
I don't have yet any idea for what's going to be next, because like I have few things that has to go out yet, like the
mm,
Alouette from Pablo Robledo is coming but not yet
mm.
made.
Which
And
one?
yeah, Alouette. Oh,
Alouette? Oh, okay, yeah.
maybe I spoiled this. Maybe I
No,
did.
no, no. We will keep it within our little company.
Alouette, do I have like couple cards here? Maybe it's not. Do I have something? Oh yes, this is not like the real handmade card. It's just a print. But oh, I'm sure you have seen this on Pablo Robledo's Facebook or Instagram. He's
Are they
been
like
working on
are they
this.
playing cards? Is it more like playing cards or is it a tarot?
If I am not mistaken, if I remember well what Pablo explained me, it's playing card. It's playing cards actually,
Mm,
and it was made in France by the Grimaud company,
mm.
but especially for Uruguay.
Oh, okay, right.
It was only for Uruguay. It was such a strange, funny story.
Mm,
Like only Uruguay would order this card, so it was a special order for Uruguay. And in Uruguay, they would use this deck only for divination, so not for playing cards. So it's
wow.
playing card format, but just for divination. So it's a very I don't know how Pablo is finding these decks. It's like
Mm,
it's always so new and incredible. And he worked on the restoration of the deck. And this one is actually a real colophon. Oh yeah, because we took pictures. So this is the colophon number one.
mm,
So I keep it here. And I did a print so we could take pictures
mm,
first, but I still didn't make the first deck of this game. So it's a very fine illustration. It's beautiful illustration, and I'm still working. I mean, I want to release this deck too.
mm.
So maybe this is going to be the next one. And when I'm going to
That's
be on it, I'm going to ask Pablo what are the, if there is divinatory meaning for
mm,
each card, or if not, if it's for us to
mm,
figure. Uh, it's for sure, it's a beautiful illustration, beautiful
yeah,
colors.
very beautiful colors. And is it like 52 card deck, like a normal playing card 52 or
It's a 50 cards deck
50 is that?
because it lacks some numbers in the suit series. It lacks, not it lacks, but it doesn't have like from 1 to 10
Ah, okay,
something
right.
like
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a
that.
smaller one. Yeah.
So it's I mean, I have in mind 50. You know, until I don't make it, it's
Mm,
not like I know the deck so well. You know, it's just when I have it done. But to me, it's 50 cards.
mm, yeah.
So this is Alouette's deck,
Mm,
and that's the next one to come. So
that's exciting, yeah.
I'm
Mm,
I'm really excited about this project. It's not tarot, it's something else, and
yeah.
going to be very
Yeah.
happy with that.
We just have Leander here, Liminal Lark, hello. And Mindy is saying that, yes, so you will be producing the playing cards too, yay. Something new for you to bug you about that.
That's really cool. Yes, of course, of
Yeah.
course. And I think maybe my paint is dry, and we can go for the last layer before
Yeah,
maybe it's time for me to sleep and
yeah,
need
it's
to
getting a bit late for you, yeah, and we're almost like here for, yeah, we've been for 1 hour, 50 minutes now, so yeah,
yeah.
we've done 2
So
hours.
if you, unless maybe we have other questions or something, I can finish with the
Yeah.
paint. Or
Yeah, maybe like while you're doing the paint, maybe we'll just open for questions if people in the chat have any questions while you doing your last layer of the paint.
okay,
Maybe
so
maybe
I'm
saying
moving
in
to
line.
the
All right, yeah, I will just wait for your camera and then I will flip the screen. Yeah. Yeah, so for you in the chat, if you have any questions for Agnes, please just type them up and we'll just make sure that she answers those. So just add this to the stream. I will make you bigger.
okay. So yeah, this is dry enough, so it's really good. And oh, I'm gonna take some gloves because the indigo color is never gonna go away from my hands. So until now, we had this green here
Mm.
that was acrylics. It's a golden green and probably some Indian yellow in it. In this blue, I must have like pigments like bleu charron
Mm.
and cobalt blue probably. Um, I have the recipe somewhere, but not here. And now we're gonna go with indigo,
Mm.
which is a pigment coming from the plant indigotier. And it was actually the pigment that they used for the tarot making in early century
Oh
because
wow.
it had a very strong color power. With a very small quantity of pigment, you can really go a long way. And when you look at the indigo, it looks black. Like this is the indigo.
Oh wow. It is really black. It looks like black.
Yeah, of course. And this gives it a color that is so strong, but also very transparent.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm. Here. Okay. This is not only indigo, it's a mix that I have here, but actually why not? Maybe I add a little bit. Up. Oh, here we see. You see, once I add the indigo, it becomes like much darker, green blue. And I'll add some little bit of water. And you see, immediately it's a very strong color.
Yeah, really.
So we're gonna try this. Mhm. Oh, and I'm gonna use this one, and I have okay. So again, I put a little bit of water this time, but not too much. And maybe a little bit more. And now I'm gonna put this indigo a little bit everywhere. And I'm gonna put a little bit more in some places. And some places I'm gonna have less. So it creates another kind of variation. And again, I'm going to create here some opening. And at this point,
And how do you choose names for your bags? Because you know, like how you had white patina, and like how do you come up with the names?
well, it depends. Like the Oriental blue, it was like this inspiration, and like this one is dark indigo patina, so it comes from the pigment. The red, I think I call it red. Uh, but the red was also inspired, by this beautiful movie Black Swan, where you
Okay.
see the blood happening in the movie. At the same time, the dancer is kind of um, opening up to herself and to her passion and to her instinct. And I felt it was a really nice way to introduce the red. Uh, and I worked the red actually from the very flesh color and going to something much more bloody.
Yeah.
So it was maybe is it the passion red? I don't remember exactly the name of the red. Um, well, it's it's a little bit it's a little bit like this, but sometimes it has a long story behind, and sometimes
Mm.
a little story. So
Just immediate inspiration, yeah.
so this is I like to add a little bit here of drops. No, this way of applying the paint is, it's just about trying to find the effects and not really painting something. So it's typically the decorative painting to bring texture or to bring something a little bit in like the shape of the wind or the shape of the sea or the shape of some very natural phenomenon without a definite shape. So that's really what I'm focusing when I'm doing the backs, because I really like the backs to have this um, to be connected to the intangible as much as possible.
Yeah. No, and I think what you're creating for my copy of Payen is just so, like, it's so exciting to me.
We see usually when I work like my process very well, it works, but
Mm.
sometimes it takes several tries, so it, it's not always a win-win. But
I have a good feeling about it.
for the paella, I'm confident it's gonna work because
Yeah.
I've been working on this white patina a lot and figuring a lot of process to achieve it. And it was a hassle. It was an obsession this winter about this. I think I have like probably 20 or 30 stories on
Mm.
my Instagram about this white patina because I searched so much. And now I feel a little bit like I know the patina. Uh, and this is my magic brush, the badger brush.
Yeah, magic.
And this one creates some shapes and that I really like.
Mm. It's so cool to see. Thank you so much for sharing it, Agnes.
It's you give this opportunity, this space, and the time for me to do it. I'm very grateful because it's so specific, It's
Mm.
for sure you cannot find this in a magazine or anywhere. It's just
No,
on
but
your
that's why I love giving you so much because it's just so fascinating for me to see, and then to see your process, and then to have the cards from you later on. It's just like wow, it's such an honor to be able to actually to talk to you and to witness your process.
Really, that's my pleasure to show how I do. So
Mm.
here we have, if I compare with this one, we're quite not yet on the same level. And what I would do in a second layer to get to this would be
Mm.
to make a little bit stronger paint here and to add one or two other layers,
Mm.
working them a little bit in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's layer after layers. It gives this impression of vibration. It gives this impression of um, I really try that we cannot recognize the cards so easily
Mm.
because, like, if you can recognize them, like, you cannot choose them with using the randomly,
Mm.
So I try to make something that is like very homogeneous and at the same time with variation and with life in it. So
Yeah.
I hope people like it, but actually I think I have more and more people who really envision themselves with a personalized deck, and it makes
Mm.
it unique because even though even though you can choose the patina, it's not going to be exactly the same than the sample that I have. It's going to be always
No.
its adaptation.
Yeah, they're always different, and yeah, people do love to see Nikki saying really amazing to see your work, Agnes. It's a great skill, and thank you, Masha, for leading a really interesting interview. Now, for me, it's fascinating as well, Nikki. So, no, thank you so much for being here and for being interested. Mindy is saying absolutely beautiful. Leanda is saying amazing to watch.
I mean, that was for me a super great time. I'm super
Mm,
happy to share. Uh, I think the more I show what's happening in the workshop, the more people understand what's behind. Because,
mm,
like, the description of an article on a website is just a little part of it. And
mm.
I thank you, Masha, for allowing this talk, allowing this information and all this good energy to be shared around the tarot. And I'm looking forward for your next videos and your
Hmm,
next
thank you so
interviews.
much. Yeah, yeah. No, it's always a pleasure to have you and to talk to you. And yeah, as I said, like I'm beyond grateful and thankful to you for being so generous with your time, but also sharing so openly how you like when we had the first conversation as well, how you handcraft the cards and printing process and all kind of pretty much step by step, and now also for sharing the creativity that like your creative expression as well that comes through the beautiful bags that you create and your customized decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I think always it's better to show and share than to keep for ourselves.
Mhm.
Some secrets that took me years and years and years, maybe I share them to just some people, but I think I can really show how I work, and it's not a problem, and I'm happy to do it. So
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so it's kind of getting a little late for you, and we've been over 2 hours now, so we'll probably finish for today. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the chat, and of course, like your details, Agnes, your Cartagram website, your Instagram page, your YouTube channel, I linked in the description as well for those
thank
people
you
who are
very
not
much.
familiar with your work to check out because yeah, you do make this little Insta stories, the clips of your process as well, which is really wonderful to see. And once again, thank you so much for your time and for staying up late with me. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. People were popping in and out of the chat, but I'm sure they will watch later as well. And Pablo is here. So hello, Pablo. We just finished. Yes, it's the most beautiful thing to see is the moment of one's creation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for being here. And I will make sure the subtitles, because Pablo always asks me, Masha, subtitles.
Yes,
The subtitles. So I will update it as we finish now that yeah, the subtitles will process and be up in a few hours.
thank you for being here, Pablo, and thank you for the comments, and thank you for your work because it's so inspiring.
Yeah. And I
It's
was only in the beginning sharing my package from Pablo.
and
My
I'm
color.
where is my oops?
Yours was nearby, yeah.
Oh, it's here. De
Yeah.
Caraja,
The colors are, yeah.
la papesse du Caraja, and oops, and the hand painted backs with little gold and indigo, and
Yes.
it's so great. It's so great.
It's
Look
a
at the
pleasure, yeah.
it was just awesome, and I hope I mean I was really happy to be here, and I'm really looking forward for all the next interview you do in the community. It creates so much link in the community. I'm very happy about this. It's super nice. It makes it real somehow.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. And it kind of allows us to get to know each other as well a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, of course. So
Yeah.
I wish you a super good birthday. I
Oh,
thank you again, and I hope we see each other soon and we exchange.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we'll talk soon. And just stay for a minute after. So we'll just say goodbye. We'll end the broadcast and then we'll have a little chat before I let you go. But yeah, once again, thank you, Agnes. And thank you so much, everybody who stopped and joined us. And if you have any questions, as I mentioned, you can get in touch with Agnes as well. Her contact details are there underneath the video. And I'm sending much love to you all. Have a wonderful day, morning, night, wherever you are, and I will see you very soon. Bye now.
Thank you all. Bye bye.